Hello everyone, welcome to Bhadra's Academy. Today in this video we are going to look at the second part of the budget. Yesterday I explained the first part of the budget video. In this video we will look at the remaining part of the budget. Now if you look at the budget and the preparation for exam as well, ये जो budget का ऐसे मैंने बोला, today we are looking at the second part. Now exam point of view, if you see here, APSC 2023 में we had a question, direct question from the budget. It was related to the Union Budget 24, which is the interim budget. Question पूछा था इस budget में government talked about 4 pillars. Which are the 4? Which is the correct one, or which is not the one of the 4 here, right? So this question was taken directly from the budget. Okay, that is the last year का APSC prelims. Also in APSC 2015, there was the question about the deficit financing concept, right? Yesterday I told you in our discussion, previous year question related to revenue policy of the government and about the budget. Today I am just mentioning that today we are going to discuss the concept of fiscal deficit, etc. So related to deficit also there was a question asked in APSC 2015. These are all directly related to budget. Not only prelims, budget का क्वेश्चन आपको मेंस का एग्जाम में भी पूछा जाता है. Like for example, if you look at APSC 2020 GS3 में they asked this question. This is also the topic we are going to discuss today. What is the meaning of fiscal deficit? उसके लिए कितना मार्क दिया था? 4 मार्क दिया था. Then what is the target of fiscal deficit? वो टारगेट को बताने के लिए 2 मार्क दिया था. Then should there be a flexibility in FRBM, that is the fiscal responsibility budget management? Today in this video I am going to discuss what is this FRBM ka target, etc. Okay, so we'll look at that part. Clear? So these things we'll be discussing today in this budget. Similarly, APSC 2022 GS3, if you look at here, explain how the Union Budget 2023-24 is banking on the crowding in effect. So this question was also asked in exam, that is the APSC 2022 ka exam. This is also directly taken from the budget related to investment decisions, how the government ka budget announcement is going to affect the investment in the country, right? So that was the topic given in APSC 2022. Also, if you look at APSC 2022, this is the GS5, but this question was based not on central budget, but it was based on Assam budget. So what I am trying to tell you, budget analysis becomes important for exam preparation, both prelims as well as mains. Okay, now we are going to discuss the part 2 of the Indian budget, that's the union budget, not the state budget. So today we will discuss some topics which are very important from exam point of view and also to understand the budget. Okay. Now the first concept that we are going to discuss is about the concept of deficit. So if you look at the concept of deficit 2025-26, when we talk about deficit, government budget gives you different ideas of deficit, right? Like we have a concept in the budget, what we call revenue deficit, effective capital expenditure ka concept. Then we have effective revenue deficit, fiscal deficit, primary deficit. Like these are what we can say the 4 important concepts of deficit in the budget, right? So there are 4 concepts of deficit in the budget. Today we will be dealing with these concepts of budget as we are going to discuss. Okay. Now if you look at the deficit ka understanding in the budget, first one, as I told you, is the idea of revenue deficit. Now government is not very much targeting the revenue deficit. What is the basic concept of revenue deficit? Revenue deficit is simply means it relates to revenue budget. Okay. Now revenue budget may we have 2 parts, revenue received and revenue expenditure. Now suppose if the government का revenue say expenditure is more than the revenue receipt, then naturally there is going to be shortage of money in the budget, right? That shortage of money in the budget, that is in revenue budget, is generally what we call revenue deficit. It is clear? Primary deficit simply means other than the previous year government ka borrowing for repayment of loan etc., what is the present government ka borrowing, because of which how much is the deficit. These are not that important actually. There is only one important concept, that is called fiscal deficit. So now we need to have a little understanding of what is fiscal deficit. So what is the budget ka concept of fiscal deficit that everybody, even TV channels also discuss. Fiscal deficit का मतलब क्या है? Government का we have a total receipt, that means total income of the government. Then we have a total expenditure of the government, right? So we have a total receipt and total expenditure. Now suppose total receipt of the government, yesterday I discussed this in the first video, part 1 में. Total receipt we have a revenue receipt and we have a capital receipt. Total expenditure में same we have revenue expenditure plus capital expenditure. But now one technical problem is what? Capital receipt में we cannot take all the receipt. Why? Capital receipt we also include loan, but loan is not income because loan is a borrowed money. So we cannot say all the capital receipt we should take it as a income of the government. So normally therefore fiscal deficit, when we estimate, how do we calculate the fiscal deficit? Very simple. We say fiscal deficit is equal to government ka income, that means direct tax, indirect tax, non-tax and non-debt capital receipt. That is what we call government ka income, ya not what we can say borrowed money, right? This is what government earns as a revenue. From this revenue income, what we have to do? We have to minus the government ka total expenditure. So from the income and expenditure, we have to see the difference. If expenditure is greater, income is less, automatically it will create what we call deficit in the budget. This deficit is what we call fiscal deficit. Now this is the topic which was asked in APSC prelims also, right? Now if you look at the fiscal deficit, government का ये जो budget है, इस budget में fiscal deficit they have given a trend. This is the last year ka budget, okay, that is the budget 24-25. If you see the fiscal deficit from the year 2020-21, because of COVID ka effect, government ka deficit was very high, right? So the fiscal deficit was very high at 9.2. फिर गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया? इसको कम करते करते लेके गया. Last year they targeted about 4.9, but it actually came down to 4.8. Now the point is, this budget 2025-26 is budget में how much is the fiscal deficit? So if you look at the latest budget, the government has given now update up to 2025-26 का estimate, BE मतलब budget का estimate. So if you see, they have given last say 4-5 years ka things together. Fiscal deficit, they put it at 6.7, it was in 21-22, then it straight comes down to how much? 4.4. So this year, how much is the fiscal deficit expected? Only 4.4, and this 4.4 is within the target given by FRBM, that is the Fiscal Responsibility Budget Management Act, the FRBM Act. So FRBM Act में गवर्नमेंट ने बोला था कि 25-26 का बजट में fiscal deficit we will try to bring it to 4.5% of GDP but they actually said it will be only 4.4%. That means we can say government has achieved the target, right? So that is the key point to remember from this kind of graphs which are given in the budget. Now look at the exam also. UPSC में question आया था, fiscal deficit as a percent of GDP of India has steadily increased in the last decade. Increased का मतलब क्या है? Continuously going up and up and up. So if you look at the last 10 year का fiscal deficit, is it increasing continuously? Answer is no. It increased for a while, but now you see it has been decreasing. So you cannot say last 10 year fiscal deficit is increasing. It is rather now it is decreasing. So exam में even if you see at the UPSC level, this kind of a trend based question आपको prelims का exam में पूछा जाएंगे. So you need to know what you mean by fiscal deficit, how much is the fiscal deficit, whether it is rising or constant or it is falling. This is also some important aspect of understanding our budget from civil service ka preparation. Okay. So now what is this FRBM? So let's try to have a look at this FRBM जो आपको even APSC में mains में भी पूछा था. According to the original FRBM Act, the government of India supposed to bring fiscal deficit to 3% of GDP by 31st March 2021. Long back, मतलब 4 years ago we can say. लेकिन क्या हुआ था 2021 में कोविड हुआ था, तो गवर्नमेंट ने क्या बोला, ये टारगेट अचीव नहीं कर सकते. फिर गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया, they said that they will try to bring the fiscal deficit. So if you see here, as I told you already, they'll try to bring it to 4.5% of GDP by 2025-26. That means this year ka budget, they said we will try to bring it to 4.5%. Now if you look at the present budget, what the government says, as they promised and as they made a commitment, this year the projected fiscal deficit is 4.4%. Okay, that is the same thing what the government has shown it in diagram, that is the 4.4%. This is what we call the fiscal deficit this year ka. Okay, this particular color is this year, right? 2025-26 ka they achieved the target. So the question of fiscal deficit, why it should be within the target? Suppose if fiscal deficit goes beyond control, what does it mean? It means that government is borrowing more and more money. That means in future we have to repay all that money to somebody. That means what? Citizens of the country will come under the burden of paying taxes. So this is a burden on future generation, and which is not justified. You know, when you talk about economics and literature, it is not justified that the present government should keep on borrowing and future generation will pay the money. It is not fair, right? Therefore, fiscal deficit in India has got a limit and also it has a target. Clear now? So if you look at the government ka various concepts of deficit, which sometimes comes in exam, the estimate for this year 2025-26 fiscal deficit expected to be 4.4, that is within the target. Revenue deficit 1.5, that is also okay, at least they have brought it down from, it was quite high. And primary deficit, as I told you, it shows the net current government ka borrowing ki wajah se what is the deficit. Okay, then tax revenue, okay, that is not that important. Now this is important, central government ka debt. This debt means what? How much money the government has borrowed which it has to repay. Our target is what? Central government ka debt should be 40% of GDP. However, if you see here, it is still how much? 56% of GDP. I mean, it is rather high. Okay, this should have been 40% of GDP under the FRBM Act, right? So if you have a look here, the FRBM Act, it very clearly says, okay, so if you see the FRBM, the general government ka debt should be 60% of GDP, while the central government it should be 40% of GDP. Okay, that means state government ka 20, center ka 40, total what we say general government 60. So central government ka debt should have been only 40% of GDP, but however that 40% target is not achieved. It is 56. Clear now? So that is where there is a slightly high, but fiscal deficit they have brought it under control. Okay, so this is the two important graphs we can say from the exam point of view. You see fiscal deficit is going down, even the debt also is going down, but it should come down to 40, right? That is when we can say target is achieved. Okay, so this is the question which came in APSC mains. As I told you, they asked about what is fiscal deficit, what is the target. So target, as I told you, original target was 3, then government changed the target to 4.5, and now they achieved the target. Matlab they are saying at least the estimate is only 4.4, that means they are within the target, right? So this is the question which came for 10 marks in APSC mains. Okay, now we said that जब गवर्नमेंट का एक्सपेंडिचर ज्यादा होता है और रेवेन्यू मतलब इनकम कम होता है, सो गवर्नमेंट हैज टू बोरो मनी. तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया कहां से पैसा बोरो करते हैं? सो जनरली वी से गवर्नमेंट कैन बोरो आइदर इन इंडिया, व्हाट वी कॉल इंटरनल बोरोइंग, या गवर्नमेंट इंडिया से बाहर से भी बोरो कर सकते हैं, उसको नॉर्मली हम क्या बोलते हैं? एक्सटर्नल बोरोइंग. So internal borrowing में we have 3 sources, that is RBI, then money market, that is for short term borrowing, and capital market for long term borrowing. Money market में government issues treasury bills, and capital market में government issues bonds. These are what we can say borrowed from foreign governments या international institutions like World Bank, Asian Development Bank या BRICS Bank. Then BOP crisis we also in the past borrowed from IMF. These are all what we call external borrowing. Okay, so government of India कहां से borrow करते हैं? These are the basic understanding of that. Now इसी के ऊपर आपको एग्जाम में सवाल पूछा था, जब गवर्नमेंट का बजट में डेफिसिट होता है, उस डेफिसिट फाइनेंसिंग के लिए मतलब इन इंडिया द डेफिसिट फाइनेंसिंग मतलब क्या है? Printing new money, creating new money for government. So normally government borrowed from where? So the answer was very simple that time. Answer would have been Reserve Bank of India. So these are all kind of questions which are based on the understanding of the budget. Okay. So now let's look at what are the key features of the present budget. It also comes in exam. जैसे मैंने आपको स्टार्टिंग में बोला था 2023 APSC में पूछा था which are the 4 major pillars on which the development of India is focused, right? That question came directly in exam. Now similarly this time we have the journey of development. Government ने क्या बोला? This time they talked about not the 4 pillars, they are there only fixed like the pillars, but government has talked about engines of development. So which are the engine that will pull India to development? So government ने 4 engine को identify किया है इस बजट में. So which are the 4 engine जो इंडिया का डेवलपमेंट में हमें हेल्प करेगा? Number 1 very important engine is agriculture. So इस बजट में एग्रीकल्चर का डेवलपमेंट के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत सारा अनाउंसमेंट किया है. I will explain a few today. Second one important engine government has identified, that is the MSME sector. Third one is the investment, because I have explained time and again in the class. देश में प्रोडक्शन करना है तो हमें इन्वेस्टमेंट चाहिए. जब इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा, जब प्रोडक्शन होगा, तभी जीडीपी बढ़ेगा. So GDP growth, economic growth, basic requirement is investment. So government now is also busy with investment. And also to deal with our BOP crisis, rupee ka depreciation, all this problem, we need to promote more and more export. So if you look at the budget, गवर्नमेंट का द 4 इंपॉर्टेंट engines of development या growth of India, the budget focuses on 4 area, remember for exam: agriculture, MSME, investment, exports. Now this is a very interesting this part, so I kept it as it is. What is the fuel for the engine to run? It is the reform. So they announced financial sector reform, etc. Then what is the guiding spirit? It is the सबका साथ सबका विकास, जो मैंने बार बार क्लास में डिस्कस किया है. That is what we call inclusive growth, right? And the destination, हमें कहाँ पहुंचना है? विकसित भारत, that is developed India by 2047. Clear now? This is the main focus of this year का budget, right? Now यही क्वेश्चन मैंने पहले आपको बोला था, पहले पूछे थे which are the 4 pillars. Same way they can ask you this time which are the 4 engines, which is not the engine, be prepared. Now ये जो ग्रोथ हमारा स्टोरी है, इसमें गवर्नमेंट फोकसेस फॉर द विकसित भारत. व्हाट आर द एस्पिरेशंस? फर्स्ट इज टू इंक्रीज द जीडीपी ग्रोथ, एज आई ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू, इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ, सबका साथ सबका विकास. देन एनहांस द परचेसिंग पावर ऑफ द मिडिल क्लास. देयरफॉर बजट में 12 लाख तक नो इनकम टैक्स, मतलब इफ योर इनकम इज कमिंग फ्रॉम सैलरी एंड some other sources of income. Yesterday I explained the separate video. Capital gain income will be taxed. Okay. Then invigorate. Invigorate means what? Put some energy, enthusiasm into which one? Private sector investment, because the investment is necessary. Then uplift the household ka sentiments, so they feel positive about the economy, and now the mood will be created. So now if you look at the government ka focus, they have used Telugu poet ka quotation, very interesting. What do you mean by a country? The country is not the just a soil, the jamin, the land area, but the country actually means the people. So this budget is, we can say, people centric approach they have taken for the same Vikshit Bharat. Now it focuses on people centric approach में zero poverty, 100% good quality school education, high quality health care, then skill development with the jobs definitely for GDP, and 70% women in economic activity, and the last one agriculture. That means make the country food basket of the world, increase the production in agriculture. These are what we can say the people centric approach what the government has talked about. Okay. Now इसमें government has identified now 10 broad areas. Okay, so the pillars are still continuing. Last year ka budget ka the 4 pillar, which are they? The garib, the youth, the annadata, that is the farmer, the nari, that is the woman, right? As I told you, if you go and see your APSC question, it is there. The garib, the nari, the youth. Here annadata was missing, the farmer. Okay, this is the same thing last year ka question paper also. Okay, so this year budget also, this 4 people are there, pillars are there, right? Now you see, government talked about 10 areas where we need to focus for these 4 category ka development. Which are they? Number 1, agricultural growth, which is very important. Number 2, rural economy, that is the rural development and rural economy. Number 3, that is the inclusive growth. Okay, everybody has to get development. Then boosting manufacturing and making in India, that is also for export also. Supporting MSME, as I told you, main focus is on MSME. Then employment led development, because jobs are necessary for people ka development. Then investing in people, economy, as well as innovation. Okay, a lot of the government has talked about investment. Then securing energy supply for the country ka growth, promoting exports, some announcements are made here also, and the last one, nurturing innovation. These are what we call the 10 broad areas highlighted by the budget, which you need to focus on this, because exam में mains में ये सब topic आपको आ सकता है. means you need to prepare this from the exam point of view. Okay, so now let's quickly have a look at the first one is what we call agriculture. Government talked about what we can say to cover 100 districts, okay, to help 1.7 crore farmers, where the districts have what we call low productivity, yeah, moderate crop intensity, yeah, where don't have much of development in agriculture. इनको benefit करने के लिए they launched this scheme. Then Kisan credit card, another important aspect which I wanted to talk about also. You see the Kisan credit card, गवर्नमेंट अभी क्या कर रहे हैं, फार्मर को जब फार्मर लोन लेता है अप टू 3 लाख, दे गिव देम इंटरेस्ट का सब्सिडी. ओके, सो द फार्मर एक्चुअली हैज टू पे हाउ मच इंटरेस्ट? द फार्मर एक्चुअली हैज टू पे ओनली 4% ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इफ ही इज एबल टू रीपे द लोन ऑन टाइम. लेकिन ये जो इंटरेस्ट सब्सिडी का स्कीम है, इसी में फार्मर को लोन कितना मिलता था? ओनली 3 लाख. अभी गवर्नमेंट ने क्या बोला है, इस 3 लाख को गवर्नमेंट बढ़ा देंगे 5 लाख. सो दैट इज हाउ फार्मर्स विल गेट बेनिफिट. दैट मीन्स द अन्नदाता, वन पिलर ऑफ आवर 4 कैटेगरीज ऑफ पीपल. सो द 5 lakh they have increased the limit for taking loan under the Kisan credit card. This question prelims में आ सकता है, right? Therefore I made a little extra information on that. Okay, right? So that is the Kisan credit card. These are simple. National mission on high yielding seeds. Okay, then we have a mission for cotton productivity. Then this one, it was also very much in news. That's a Makana board they have set up in Bihar. There were a lot of discussion why all projects are going to Bihar. Okay, anyway, that will not come in exam, but there are a lot of possibilities of this Makana even in northeast. Okay, like Manipur and all. Okay, so these are the government announced some scheme. Now look at this one. Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, government launched long back during COVID. Under the similar concept, now government is promoting the production of pulses. So government is taking a mission, what we call 6-year ka mission for Atmanirbharta pulses. That means self-reliant India in production of pulses. Okay, that is the one scheme. In that scheme, NAFED and also NCCF, that is the National Cooperative Consumer Cup Federation of India Limited, they will purchase the pulses from farmer, so that like MSP type, farmer can produce more and sell it to the government ka cooperative agencies. So mission for cotton productivity also been announced in this budget, because cotton is also grown in Maharashtra and some other parts of the country where we have a black cotton soil, etc. Assam mein we do produce cotton, but it is not a major crop. So from our point of view, it may not have much impact. Okay, this I already explained to you. Okay, this is the same thing. So government will launch a 6-year ka mission, like especially for tur dal, urad dal, masur dal. You know, that is what we call the pulses production ka mission. Okay, another important point is the rural economy, the second pillar of our focus, rural economy. Now government says the rural economy mein India Post will make a big what we can say game changer type of role, because they are supposed to open a, you know, what we can say bank branches, etc. for the rural development, providing loan services, etc. Okay. Now coming to MSME, government has made again quite a lot of announcement. This is the second major engine of our growth, the MSME, basically for Make in India project. Now government ne kya bola, like for example, if you look at here, they will give credit card for micro enterprises, okay, up to 5 lakh, so that what happen, they can take a loan for their MSME ka business. This is very interesting. स्कीम फॉर फर्स्ट टाइम एंटरप्रेन्योर, मतलब जो पहली बार एंटरप्रेन्योर मतलब बिजनेस स्टार्ट करना चाहते हैं, उनके लिए दे आर कीपिंग व्हाट वी कैन से फॉर 5 लाख फर्स्ट टाइम एंटरप्रेन्योर, मोस्टली फ्रॉम women, SC, ST category. They will get a scheme where they can get loans up from 2 crore, okay, the next 5 years they will get a loan facility. Similarly, earlier government launched Stand Up India scheme for same category, women, ST and SC. Now something very similar they are announced in this budget also. Okay, so these were the two major announcements. Other things, if you see here, some interesting parts are here, these three. They are going to promote footwear and leather sector. Okay, so government will try to create some employment here, and toy sector, and also food processing industry, which is what we call labor intensive sector. So budget may, if you want to see, from where you can get questions for exam, these are the areas we need to know which government is trying to promote labor intensive sectors, which highlighted in the budget. Okay, these three. Okay, now coming to MSME, one important thing you need to understand, government has now redefined the definition of MSME. So look at here, MSME ka definition is based on investment as well as the business turnover. Currently, micro is like 1 crore, revised is 2.5 crore. Same turnover 10 crore. Here it is 10 crore, increased to 25 crore. And 50 was the turnover, increased to 100. That means what? Government has increased the amount of investment as well as the amount of turnover. So if you look at this carefully, this is the existing one and this is the new one. And this is the existing one and this is the new one. So I kept it together. This you have to learn it. Exam may, even UPSC may, this question came, the definition of MSME for prelims. You can search in Google, you will find the UPSC question on MSME ka definition. Okay, so these are what we can say some key points announced in this budget for MSME sector development. Clear? Okay. Now export is another important area where government is focused on. This is also one of the engines for our Viksit Bharat. Now here if you see, government is going to create a export promotion mission, basically to help people to export easily, get loan facility, etc. So if you see, for example, easy access to export loan, because when you are doing export, already it comes under the priority sector lending of RBI. So government is trying to promote, and also they are trying to give support to MSME to tackle the non-tariff measures in foreign market. So that non-tariff means what? Restriction of the market access, quota system, etc. Okay, government said they will negotiate. This is the new one also announced. Government is going to create a Bharat Trade Net. This is what we call digital public infrastructure. Public infrastructure means what? Everybody can use that online, digitally. That is called digital public infrastructure. Now what is this Bharat Trade Net? Okay, so I made one small thing, information here. This is basically what we can say. If you focus here, the key point is here. The main thing here is this one, unified platform for trade documentation and financing solution. So basically trade ka related documents and finance related aspects may government will try to provide a digital public information. Okay, that is the availability. This is going to be worked and developed very soon. Okay, now for the inclusive growth for the people, specifically investing in people, if you see, government is going to do lot of investment in providing educational fellowship, what we call scholarship we can say, then gene bank for crops, Bharat, this one Gyan Bharatam mission. Okay, this is for the manuscript ka heritage ka protection, research development and innovation ka investment, etc. So these are what we can say government wants to do investment and also promote innovation in our country. Okay, now if you see here in the same concept, investing in people, government has announced lot of schemes, like for example Anganwadi and Poshan Abhiyan. Government wants to help the people. that is for nutrition, midday meal, all that comes under this one, Poshan Abhiyan, right? Expansion of capacity of IIT, because they said they will increase the seats in IIT. So for example, if you see 10,000 additional seats, okay, will be increased in the medical, etc. Similarly, IIT 6,500 something government has promised. So these are what we can say various announcement government has made for what we can say investing money for the development of people. So this is one area एग्जाम में, इसी में आपको प्रीलिम्स का सवाल बनने का चांसेस ज्यादा होते हैं. Okay. So now, as I told you, the government already said that 6,500 seats in the IIT and 10,000 more seats in the medical, they are going to make available in the next year by constructing more and more medical colleges and IITs, etc. Now, financial sector reform mein government has made some interesting announcement. This I have already explained in the regular economics class. ये जो इंश्योरेंस सेक्टर में एफडीआई जो आता है, मतलब फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट जो आता है, करंटली गवर्नमेंट हैज केप्ट दैट एट 74%. अभी इस बजट में गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया है, दे हैव इंक्रीज्ड दैट फ्रॉम 74 टू 100%. क्लियर? दिस इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग अनाउंसमेंट मेड बाय गवर्नमेंट. दैट मीन्स नाउ एफडीआई लिमिट इन इंश्योरेंस हैज बीन इंक्रीज्ड फ्रॉम 74 टू 100%. Now this kind of question APSC में पहले एक बार आया था. Okay, so you can look at those kind of questions. Another announcement they made in reforms is the government का public sector banks जो होते हैं, जो government का बैंक हम बोलते हैं, they will develop what we call Gramin credit score. Credit score is basically how much you are eligible to take a loan. If your credit score is high, means you are good, you can take a loan and you are able to repay. That's the basic idea. Now this Gramin credit score they are trying to develop for the village people. इसमें क्या होगा, the loan, credit means loan needs of self-help group. That means the women from the villages, they will get the benefit. So these people will get their credit score. If your credit score is good, you will be eligible for a loan. Okay, so this is a new thing for the rural people also. Government is launching a credit score that's called Gramin credit score. Okay, this is a new announcement, prelims point of view. Keep in mind, Niti Aayog is going to soon develop what we call investment friendliness index. We have plenty of index already. This one more index is going to come. That is the investment friendliness index. It will evaluate, compare all the states on how they are promoting, helping to attract investment in the state. Like now, Assam government is very busy. Advantage 2.0 for what? Attracting investment. Okay, so this is the new index which is going to be launched by Niti Aayog. So this budget government has announced, it will be prepared for a competitive, cooperative federalism point of view. Okay, these are very interesting announcements, exam point of view also. Another one, government said 𝗔𝗣𝗦𝗖 Act. This act may what happened, they were decriminalized. That means what? Certain mistakes, offenses committed by people are called criminal. Criminal offense means you will go to jail. Decriminalize means what? You will not go to jail. It will not be criminal offense. You just have to make the compensation. It will become a civil offense. Okay. So 2023 में government made about 180 legal provisions. They were decriminalized. अभी government ने क्या बोला? The same jan which was now 2.0, they will come out with this. इस 2.0 में they are almost dealing with 100 such rules and laws. So they will decriminalize. Okay, so it will not be a criminal offense. इसमें क्या होगा? Main focus is this one, to make ease of doing business, so that people need not have the fear. अगर कुछ गलत हो गया तो मुझे जेल में जाना पड़ेगा, वैसा fear nahi hoga, rather people can make some mistake also. It will be not a criminal offense. Okay, so that business environment will improve. Now this will be prepared and worked by the DPIIT under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So you see, budget 25-26 has lot of interesting announcement. एग्जाम के लिए बहुत सारा क्वेश्चन इसमें बन सकता है, मतलब पॉसिबिलिटीज है. ओके, सो this is the basic what we can say, a quick look at analysis of our budget. I tried to highlight as many important aspects as possible. Okay, plus we will be sending out some notes also for detailed study and preparation. I will also prepare MCQs of the same budget ka. Okay, so keep watching our videos. Now after the budget videos, I will be preparing also videos on what we can say the analysis of economic survey, the latest one. Okay, so we will release in part by part, so easy for you to follow. For any query, contact 8638391721. Okay, that's our number. Do contact us. So till then, you follow our videos. We'll meet you in the next video on the analysis of economic survey. Okay, thank you. Follow the videos.